Welcome, everybody, to the BoomTube podcast. I am Ryan, and I have Nate here with me.
Yo!
You're back, man!
I'm back!
Yeah, we had that little mini boom, went on a little mini adventure, but you're back!
Yeah! Got our buddy Callum in.
Yeah, he was talking all the way from Nashville, so...
Did you literally,
He talked to me over the airwaves.
Over the airwaves,
and it, you could definitely tell
you guys literally boomed to each other.
Oh my gosh, we did! Yes, we did! Yes!
That's amazing.
We did, so...
I didn't know that.
So, well...
I thought he came here.
No. No, we boomed his voice over the...
That's cool.
Yeah. But, you're back, man, and, dude, it is hot and muggy.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
It's summer, and I can't complain about that, but it's also been a lot of rain, and just the combination's not good.
I cannot be naked enough.
Right. But at the same time, I stick to everything when I'm naked.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, so do you remember about, I want to say this was a year ago, do you remember that fad that went around Facebook and online, the mannequin challenge?
I hate fads. Yes, I do remember the mannequin challenge.
You do remember that, though, right? Yeah. It has now come to light that Google has used all of that footage to enhance their AI, to enhance 3D mapping.
How?
Yeah. So they're taking exact footage of these people who are willingly freeze-framing, and they're learning more of the 3D landscape. Now, here's where I'm going to put on a tinfoil hat, okay?
Yes.
I'm about to put on a tinfoil hat. Yes. Google owns YouTube. Yep. They also are obviously the world's biggest search engine.
Yep.
What if they manufactured the hype behind the mannequin challenge just so we can all, for free, provide them data?
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's true, but
that's a great theory.
I'm putting a tinfoil hat on. People feel like they have to do it, they have to get involved, and guess what? You're getting free data. Now, there's, I guess, technically really nothing wrong with that, but I don't know. Is there something wrong with that? If that were true?
Yeah, that's a weird shade of gray.
Yeah.
Because I can't really say there is anything wrong with it, because everybody freely participated.
Exactly. No harm was done.
But it's kind of like...
It's definitely manipulation.
Like an ooh, shame on you thing.
Right. That's just kind of something interesting. I thought you might want to chew on that thought a little bit.
Like, I have that like Google Rewards opinions thing where they ask you surveys.
I do too.
And some of the questions that they ask me, like, randomly, it's like, oh, do you know me? And it's like, I prefer not to answer.
Yes.
It's like, there's a lot of questions they ask where it's like, you already know the answer to that question, don't you?
Right.
It's like, I'm not going to answer that.
No, we're talking about the Google Rewards app, and it's great on one hand because it asks you random questions, and it'll even ask you about, like, your travel history. Like, were you recently at AutoZone, and how long were you there? Did you spend money or not?
Yeah, if you have your location turned on, places you shop, it'll, like, ask you surveys about it, like what was your experience and all that. And I really like when it asks me about, like, YouTube videos and stuff, because I can tell that once it asks me, like, did you enjoy this video, is this a video you would watch, based on how I answer, my YouTube feed will change.
Mine too.
And for the better.
Those are my favorite ones, and
I enjoy those.
Those are my favorites.
But then it randomly will ask me about my salary, and it's like, oh no, it's like, I'm not telling you that.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. And so on one hand, it's great because in all honesty, especially if you have your location turned on, you could get $3-4 a week in free Google credits,
and they pay you. Yeah, they pay you for answering those questions.
But you're essentially, it's not free because you're getting that money to literally give a personal profile
information.
To Google.
Yes,
and that's where it gets kind of tricky because it's like, well, I'm not really looking to hide anything. I don't care if they know that I'm Caucasian and this is how much money I make, but you're still selling that info for 13 cents a pop.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to tell you how much.
It's different every time, but that's just a number.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you how much I make a year for a quarter.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, and that's something else. You never know how much you're going to get paid until they pay you.
Yes.
Because there are times where, like, I'll get 7 cents, and there have been times where I've gotten, like, $1.25.
Yeah. And it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's like, that's half an iced coffee.
Something I've realized is I've saved up those credits, and I bought a couple movies on the Google Play Store because I recently went on a long trip, and I thought this could come in handy.
Yeah.
I found out that I can watch those through YouTube. I didn't realize that.
No way.
So I'm on my PS4 on YouTube, and one of the tabs is purchase stuff, and the stuff I purchased through the Play Store. Yeah, I know, right? I know.
I didn't know that.
Me neither.
They need to advertise that. I'm up to like $8. I'm going to have to buy a movie or something.
But yeah, we got buy something on sale for sure.
Oh yeah.
But it'll show up in your YouTube app.
I'm a penny pincher.
Well, I mean, it's free money, and if you use it wisely, you can really get something cool. Mm-hmm. I got this wasn't through the Google Rewards. This was a while ago, but I did something where it was along the lines of a survey or one thing or another, or a review for Google, and I got the first Transformers movie for free.
Nice.
And I've literally never watched it, but I was on YouTube, and I went over to a tab, and it was like, watch this for free, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny that was there. And then when I bought the comedy special for the trip I was just talking about, I saw it there too, and I was like, oh, cool. Well, I'm going to save those credits for,
That's really cool. Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. Hearing about that mannequin challenge, and I don't know. It's just a very gray area that I think everyone could definitely spend some time chewing. One of the first things I'd like to do is take our little boom tube for a whirl.
We're booming!
Going to see some movies!
Woo!
We boomed. So, on the topic of movies, one of my favorite cult classic movies, not even a cult classic, it's just a good movie, and you know this, I love RoboCop.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
There is another reboot coming out. Well, not even a reboot, because it's a continuation of the original film. This is going to be coming to us from Neil Blomkamp.
Yes.
Now, he did
District 9.
District 9, yes.
Which I really liked that movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I want to see it.
It was almost like a mockumentary, but it wasn't bound by it.
That's cool because it gives it flexibility to maybe show different perspectives.
Exactly. It wasn't entirely shaky cam. At one point, it's like, okay, we're a full-on sci-fi movie now, and we're just going to go off and do this. And then it kind of, at the end, ties back into a mockumentary. And I really enjoyed that.
I'm glad you explained it that way. That it kind of cut through with like interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I love about the original RoboCop movie is how it would blend in commercials and news segments.
Yeah.
And they were essentially at face value just little skits, little sketches with little jokes in them, but it was world building. It kind of explained to you how people perceived things and how the culture was all about giant cars and guns and all that stuff. But, so if Neil Blomkamp is doing this movie, which again is a continuation of the first movie, not a reboot.
That's really cool.
It's ignoring RoboCop 2 and 3 and all the other...
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of other sequels that I don't know if they count. They were like TV movies.
Yeah.
It's ignoring all of those, so it's taking the original RoboCop movie, and then this movie happens. The working title is RoboCop Returns, which I don't like because it's very Batman Returns and very boring.
Yeah, that was easy.
But on the other hand, I really hate it when movies do the sequel thing, and it's literally the same name, like Halloween that just came out.
Exactly.
The first movie was called Halloween. This is a continuation of just that, nothing else, and we're calling it Halloween.
At the same time, though, you can't call Halloween 2 because they did Halloween 2. Which is weird.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So you're paying... Oh my gosh. I didn't even think of that. You're right.
You have to
You can't call it Halloween 2.
Yeah. You have to come up with something unique.
So you just call... So what is... And they
Halloween Returns.
And there's some rumors... Yeah. And there's rumors that there's going to be a sequel to that movie, and would that be Halloween 2, or is that Halloween 3, or is that just called Halloween?
That's Halloween 2.0.
Or Halloween Cubed.
Halloween Cubed. I love it.
Cubed. It's all in 3D. It's all in Tron. It's in Tronverse. But it's the working title for the RoboCop movie is RoboCop Returns. But if Neil Blomkamp had that kind of cutting style where it would go to interviews and stuff like that, that would work with the original movie. So I think they would feel cohesive. Well, what's really interesting about this is, so he's been rumored to be attached to a sequel or another RoboCop movie for quite some time. And actually, before the previous RoboCop movie came out, this movie was already in discussions. I'm talking about the one that had Joel Kinnaman in it.
Yeah.
And he was in the black, ninja suit with the bike.
Michael Keaton is the bad
Michael
guy.
Keaton's the bad guy, yeah. I did not like that movie at all. I had hopes for it. They
tried to tell too much of a story.
They did. So that's exactly my problem with it. So the movie starts out like the original RoboCop, and it's like, okay, so like maybe it's going to be about him finding his killer like the original did.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure they find him like almost immediately, and it's like, okay, so that makes sense. It's a reboot. Maybe they'll do something else. And then they kind of dive into the guy who played. I can't think of his name. He played Rorschach.
Oh, yeah, Jackie Earle Haley.
Jackie Earle Haley, thank you very much.
Yeah.
He's like the weapons designer, and he's jealous of RoboCop, and he designs the Ed 209, and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. You're going to have him build these things to fight RoboCop, and then that doesn't really go anywhere. And then it's like, oh no, Michael Keaton's like a really corrupt CEO, and then, that's not bad enough. He kidnaps RoboCop's wife, and like, they tried way too much, but there were some cool scenes. I remember the part where it showed him where they're building RoboCop, and it's literally a lung. It's like a pair of lungs.
It was his
like,
head and a couple body parts.
Yeah.
Organs,
it
not
was
even parts.
It was a hand, a pair of lungs, a heart, and a head, and eyes and brain, pretty much. Well, his face. It was his face. His full
that
face.
Was cool.
It wasn't as good as the original, but having Sam Jackson as kind of the cutting in between, Fox News kind of guy. And that's what I'm looking for in this Neil Blomkamp sequel, because, again, it's an easy and effective way to build the world. I think it's a good way to point across. Now, it's very easy to look at the original RoboCop and say this is a dumb action movie full of violence and gore. And it is full of violence and gore, more than most. Definitely. However, it is not a dumb action film. I will fight this until the day I die. It is a smart satire, because again, if you watch it, it makes fun of that extremism, that indulgence that Americans
definitely,
and that, I don't know, that's what I loved.
It's a good movie.
It's really a great movie. I gotta admit, I probably saw that when I was way too young.
They are using the original costume too, aren't they? Didn't they say that?
Yes. So he said. So what had happened?
Take on the original, at least.
Yeah. So what had happened was somebody had tweeted to Neil Blomkamp, "Hey, what's the word on the sequel, or is it still happening?" Something to that effect. Mm-hmm. And he said, "The script is being written. It is going well. Imagine Verhoeven doing a follow-up film." Verhoeven's referring to Paul Verhoeven, the director of the original.
That's cool.
Yeah, he went on to actually do Starship Troopers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Which, if you think about it, Starship Troopers is very similar to RoboCop.
Commercials and documentary-esque.
Very violent, but it's more than a dumb action film. Right?
Yeah, and honestly, Starship Troopers is a great way to compare to District 9. Lots of commercials and documentary-esque stuff, and then cut to straight action in an action movie. Yeah. So if that's the good tie-in, that's amazing.
Well, and I love the idea of having the scene where RoboCop takes down people, a montage taking down people, or he does something, and then you cut to the media and how people are perceiving
and how they're spinning.
Yeah, and I think it'd even be cool if they did a CNN, Fox News thing where you might have people who are like, RoboCop's great, we love him, and other people are like, he's a menace.
Especially in this day and age.
Yes,
because that's all that the media is.
Right.
It's left and right.
Right.
And that would be very satirical.
It'd be very satirical. It would be a good idea. It would be a time capsule of the time, because again, if we go back to the 80s, that was all about indulgence. That was about spending money, living large, being big.
Yep.
The one thing he said in that recent tweet is that the script is currently being written.
Yeah.
So it's probably fair to say at least 2022.
A few years.
At least. Yeah. But I'll definitely see that. RoboCop is truly one of my favorite movies.
That'd be cool.
If you've never seen it, I highly recommend you watch it. And again, don't look at it just the face value of over the top violence, because it is there and it is awesome, but the movie's much smarter than that.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
I do.
Have you seen any of all of those extra RoboCop?
Yes.
Scrolling through, I have seen so many, not just RoboCop 2 and 3.
Right. Prime Directives, Dark Vengeance.
There's so many other Have you seen any of those?
Meltdown. I've seen every single one.
I've never seen any of those. Are they good?
No. So I have. They are on Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah.
I saw these. Oh my gosh. I want to say I saw these about 12 years ago.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, these are actually TV movies developed by the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh.
If it was not the Sci-Fi Channel, the Sci-Fi Channel was where I watched them.
That's all I need to hear.
Yeah. The Sci-Fi Channel is where I watched them. Now, again, this has been a while, so bear with me if this isn't incredibly accurate, but from what I remember, they have, it opens up, in the whole series of movies, there's 3 to 5 of them, but it really is one movie. So it's literally a continuation after another.
Are they movie length, or is it like a mini-series?
They're movie length, but you probably could, truthfully, you probably could do 2 TV seasons out of it, or one TV
call
season.
It a mini-series.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. It opens up, and this is crazy how much detail I remember about this, because it has been years, but again, big RoboCop fan.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It opens up where there's a criminal he's going after called Bone Crusher. And it's so funny because he's not a character you would see in the RoboCop films. He's like a supervillain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, RoboCop's not... Like, he doesn't fight supervillains.
Plus, RoboCop has no bones, so...
no more bones.
How do you stop him?
And, like, he takes down this guy, but, like, while he takes down this guy, he, like, shoots this cop who's, like, RoboCop's, like, buddy or something.
Oh.
So this cop is, like, dying. Well, they turn this cop into RoboCop 2.
Oh.
And it's literally RoboCop, but with, like, a dark purple, black suit. And it's just stupid.
RoboCop NATO.
Nego RoboCop.
A tornado just throws RoboCops everywhere. That seems to be all that sci-fi does anymore.
You become a RoboCop. You become a
and
RoboCop.
you're a RoboCop. Yeah, we're gonna Oprah this thing.
But no, they're not good. I don't remember watching any of them and being like, yeah. But I definitely watched them. So. Okay. You know,
I always see them. It's always in my, like, you should watch this. And it's like, no. It looks bad.
I'm sure, you know, I'd have to even look up. There might be some YouTube montages or something. But, yeah, I wouldn't commit the, like, 8 hours to watching all of those.
Yeah.
Gosh. Hey, while we're here in the movie universe, I have got a doozy for you, my friend.
Sweet.
Yes.
I love doozies.
Disney, of course, purchased Fox not too long ago.
Yes.
They acquired all the rights to all that. Fox's last X-Men film was, of course, Dark Phoenix.
Yep.
Well, now that Disney owns Fox, they're sitting on a pile of scripts that they have nothing to do with. They can't do anything with it. So one of the people involved decided to release one of the scripts that was most certainly going to happen. So out of the pile of scripts that they had, this one was the most certain to be made. This is the one they really wanted to be made.
Yes.
This was in development after X-Men Apocalypse. So it's probably safe to say we might have gotten this movie instead of Dark Phoenix if things have gone slightly differently.
Okay.
You know? So this movie that they released, the script is called X-Men Fear the Beast.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Oh. So the movie would have been a solo-focused movie around Beast.
Why?
Right. Of all the characters. All the characters.
I
can't help but think... No, I like Beast as a character. From the comics and the old 90s cartoon. I can't help but think this is only because they're like, we have this Nicholas Hoult guy. Let's just, we have him under contract. Let's just make him a star of this X-Men movie. But I gotta admit, I haven't even started to go into the details of this. Just hearing that, are you interested at all?
No.
Yeah, neither would I. I'm not interested. I don't think the general public would necessarily be like, yes, Fear the Beast is what I want to see.
X-Men has one of the biggest catalogs of characters to pull from.
Right. And to have... I'm not saying having Beast as a focal character is a bad thing, but as the solo...
I don't see an intriguing movie based around him at all.
Neither do I.
He's a blue gorilla.
So, I feel like no matter what movie would have been Fox's
X-Men
last...
Harambe. That's all I'm picturing right now.
You're picturing.
It's... A bunch of people show up, shoot him, and he dies, and that's it.
It's like, but man's the real monster.
Well, I guess you could push that point if you wanted to. I just don't see it.
This was called Fear the Beast, which kind of reminds me of Dark Phoenix, and I wonder if it was X-Men Fear the Beast, or just Fear the Beast. Kind of like how Dark Phoenix just went Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
I feel like that confused probably... I don't want to use the word layman, but like the general audience member who just knows that X-Men's an action movie.
I hear Fear the Beast, I do not think X-Men.
But this movie, they were developing it right after Apocalypse, and it was supposed to pick up after Apocalypse. So we're still in the 90s, or I'm sorry, the 80s. We're still in the 80s after Apocalypse.
Did he play any role in Apocalypse?
Nicholas Hoult?
Yeah. Or Beast, just in general.
I don't know. See, I feel like ever since he got involved in the series... Anything with Beast was about, I have a serum to be a human, but I also have a serum to be a beast. But I have a serum that I'm going to use now, and then I have a serum for this.
Exactly.
And I'm just going to spoiler alert you now, this is a very serum-heavy script.
His entire point of even being in the movies was just to give a serum to Xavier.
Right.
That's it.
I loved Beast in X-Men 3. Kelsey Grammer. I thought that was excellent. I loved that. But I loved...
Who'd have thought that Frasier would have been the perfect Beast?
Oh, I knew he was fantastic.
He was so good.
He was, in my opinion, that's probably the best part of X-Men 3. If you were to take out him as Beast, like, that's just great.
Yeah.
But this movie would have been set in the 80s, again, with Nicholas Hoult continuing his role. The villain would have been the Wendigo.
I'm drawing a blank on the Wendigo.
So the Wendigo he's appeared in a couple of the older 80s and 90s, like, beat-em-ups, and I think he was in the 90s cartoons, too. He's a giant white werewolf, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
Now, in the comics, it's because of a curse. He's cursed to become this thing.
Okay.
Now, in the movie, and I do understand this difference, if you are making a Beast movie, I understand making the Wendigo the villain and also making it a serum as opposed to a curse.
It sounds like it would be a good counterpart to his...
Exactly, a good counterpart.
A good evil to his good.
So, Fox was ready to just blatantly tear up the timeline with this movie. Now, their movies have never been super accurate with the timeline.
Yeah.
They're quite frankly puzzles in themselves just to figure out the exact timeline, but they have kind of a general flow.
Yep.
This movie was going to blatantly destroy the timeline, and I don't know if it's because this is after Days of Future Past, where it's like, we've already established different universes.
Yeah.
So the reason why I say the timeline is different is they wanted a new actor to play Wolverine. But they were going to have Wolverine introduced as we saw him in X-Men 1. So in Canada, doing the cage fighting in the bar.
Okay.
But this is a whole new actor. Okay. So before he's in this cage fighting place, before he even meets Rogue, okay, because again, this is a different universe.
Yeah.
Professor X telepathically communicates with Wolverine mid-fight, fills in Wolverine that, hey, you're a mutant, I'm talking to you this way, here's all the stuff that's going on, I also need to recruit you to help my buddy Beast, who's also in Canada. This is mid-fight. So, Wolverine has to wrap his brain about all this in mid-fight.
Talk about exposition.
Yes, exactly.
Here's the entire movie, here we go.
Yeah, this is all mid-fight, okay? Now, one thing that is notable in the script is they wanted to try to introduce Wolverine's classic brown and tan costume. So
I'd have been cool with that.
So the setup was that he would have agreed to, Xavier, I'll help your buddy Beast or whatever, and he would have suited up in this costume.
My greatest bummer about Hugh Jackman quitting Logan is that he never actually wore the costume.
Yes, you got that tease at the very end.
Tease at the end of the Wolverine.
And you never saw it.
But it never happened. And
happened.
I would have loved to have just seen him put that mask on.
And I would have loved it too, but I'm also trying to wrap my head around that ear part of that mask or whatever those things are.
Oh, it was completely unnecessary.
But that's what's funny about comics, right? And on paper, that looks awesome.
It does.
If somebody really wore that in real life, you'd probably laugh your butt off.
Probably, but I still want to see Hugh Jackman.
He might be,
Even if I laugh.
He might make it work. He might
could.
make it work. So, this movie, it would have had the climactic battle, of course, with Beast fighting Wendigo, but he just can't beat him. So, he decides to take the serum that Wendigo's been using. He injects it into himself to become, this is from the script, Mega Beast.
Mega Beast.
He's bigger, he's a darker shade of blue, and he's described as a quote-unquote force of nature. But he still needs help and can't beat Wendigo, so this is when Wolverine comes in and does his stuff. I imagine they rip him to shreds.
And once again, Wolverine is the center of everything.
Yeah, Wolverine takes all the credit. So the movie would have ended with Wolverine saying no to the X-Men, thanks but no thanks, and pretty much just walking away into the sunset. Before he leaves, though, Professor X goes ahead and fills in all of his memories. So you're erasing all of Wolverine figuring out his past and all that stuff. So he's like, all right, well, I'm not going to be a part of the X-Men, but, thanks for the memories.
Be gone, exposition. Right. Let me fill you in on all of this, and then erase it at the end of the movie.
And then finally, the ending tease of the movie would have been that Mr. Sinister was behind the serum that created the Wendigo.
That's the only good thing of that entire movie.
And that's what I thought too. That's the only good thing. They teased Mr. Sinister at the end. They teased him at the end of the Wolverine, I believe. I think it was the Wolverine. There's one movie at the very end where they do tease Mr. Sinister. But yeah, reading that and I looked at that, I was like, that's the one cool thing from the script.
Yeah.
But that movie would have been garbage.
And I'll be honest, that's the worst thing to happen to all superhero films is it's just building up another superhero film.
Well, that and it's too focused on the actor that they had.
Yeah.
And it all started with Jennifer Lawrence. I have no problem with her.
Yep.
But it all started with her as Mystique, where all of a sudden Mystique's like a central character in the X-Men universe.
Yes.
She's like a C-list.
I'll be honest. I'll even go so far as to say Wolverine. X-Men is an Avengers-style movie. It should be a group of people. And to focus every single movie around Wolverine or Mystique is a mistake for the X-Men.
I agree.
In my opinion. And I feel like Marvel, when they take over and do their X-Men movies, really need to focus on not focusing on one person.
Well, the X-Men movies should feel like, not the tone I'm talking here, but they should feel like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, where it's an ensemble movie.
Yes.
You have, everybody gets their chance to shine. Yeah, Chris.
Sure, there's one person that you focus most of your camera time on, but it's a group.
You still have many scenes with Groot and Gamora as you do with Star-Lord.
Without him whatsoever.
Exactly.
But yeah. Because as much as I love Hugh Jackman, if he comes knocking on this door right now and says, "Run away with me," I'm gone.
You're gone.
We're just bros. But I'm going to run away with him and be best friends forever. I love Hugh Jackman. But they should not have focused on him so closely in every single movie.
Yeah. But this Fear the Beast movie, man. Like, I'm glad it never happened.
I'll be honest, I knew nothing about this before you talked to me about it. And I'm super glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm more grateful that it doesn't exist than to never watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it's about time we move on. I think there's some TV news we can talk about.
Oh, TV boom.
Hang on. Do you need a...
Excuse me.
You need a little something?
I might need a Tums.
I might need a Tums.
Tums for the tummy.
We're here in the TV universe now. I got just a couple little tidbits, not a whole lot of juicy nuggets here, but just little tidbits to talk about.
I love tidbits.
One of my favorite TV sitcoms of all time, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
I've told you for a long time to start watching it, and I know you have.
I have seen some of it. I have not seen all, and I do enjoy it. I don't love it personally, but I do enjoy it.
Now, you're still in season 1, correct?
I want to say I got halfway through season 2.
Okay. Because I will say, no, I enjoy every episode of that, and I love season 1. But it is one of those shows where you tell people, you're like, oh, it's a great show. Get through season 1.
That's almost every show, to be honest. The Office.
The Parks and Rec.
Rough. Breaking Bad. I mean, any of the really great shows, the first season, they have to find the characters.
Yeah, kind of find your groove.
They haven't found their footing yet. You got to get past that.
Kind of like these first couple episodes of this podcast. Oh, got me.
Got me.
I shot and I hit myself. The reason I wanted to bring up It's Always Sunny, season 13, which aired last year, it's coming to Hulu this Friday, July 5th.
Nice.
So yeah, we're excited about it. My wife and I, we saw it when it aired, and the entire year we've been excited for it to come on Hulu, so now we can obsessively watch it.
I was going to say, you've had me watch a whole bunch of episodes, and I've enjoyed every single episode you've sent me.
Yeah, but it's funny too. But every episode I'll show you that I'll handpick and show you. It's all from season 3 on. It's when the show really gets bonkers.
And I really feel like for me that's an atmospheric show. I enjoy it so much more watching it with you than by myself.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. No, I get what you're saying.
Watching it by myself, it's like, this is kind of funny, but I don't enjoy it. But with you, and I know that you're anticipating the next joke. And for some reason, they hit so much better, and I love it. So I will save that show for with you.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that because truthfully, out of the 13 seasons of the show, and my wife and I, we even do this. It's difficult for us to narrow down even a top 15 or 20.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I could make a solid mix of the best episodes, but even then, it's so difficult to pick.
Yeah, I gotta say, every episode you've shown me is very well written.
Yeah, the show is so good. One of the teases that I wanted to bring up. So it's the new season's coming up here in a couple months.
Okay. They
put on Instagram a picture of Rob McElhaney. He's the creator of the show. He plays Mac. He's sitting on a couch and he took a picture of Charlie. It's of Charlie's back at a desk and he's writing the next script. And he's like, "Oh, we're working on the script." But there's a plain as day image of what the script is. So you start... Yeah. Where this gets funny is you start reading it, and the first line is from Frank, Danny DeVito, and he's like, "I can't believe Charlie's gone." And it's like, oh my God, something happened to Charlie. Yeah, and then the next line is somebody talking about how Dennis finally admitted he's in love with Mac too. So they're a couple now. And then the last line is from Frank, And he's like, I can't believe you zoomed in to read this. Like, why would we put up any real script so you can read it? Like, we wouldn't spoil that. Happy 4th of July. Like,
total F you.
I just thought that was so funny. And, like, that show is so good. It's one of my favorite episodes. It became my favorite episode once I found out the hidden value of it. And I don't know if I showed this one to you or not. But the gang desperately tries to win an award. It's the city's doing a Bar of the Year award, and they're not getting it. And they're like, we've been here for years, and we have a following. How come we don't have awards?
Yeah.
They're like, there's a show down the road, or there's a place down the road that just started, and they have a bunch of awards. And then you start thinking about it. They're talking about the Emmys. How they've been on the show, how they've been on the air for over a decade, and they're like, we look like a bunch of assholes. they're like, you know what? It's cool because like we have an edge that like other people just can't handle. And then they're like, no, wait a minute, but now it's really starting to piss me off. Like the episode is so good, and in the episode they go investigate the one bar that's winning a bunch of awards.
Yeah,
they go in. You start hearing pop music like it's a Taylor Swift song.
Yeah,
this show does not play licensed songs that much. So to hear Taylor Swift is jarring. The colors are super bright.
Okay.
And it starts to look like an NBC, CBS sitcom.
Yep.
There's a part where the bartender rings a bell and everyone's like, drink! And they all drink. And they're like, what the hell was that? And they're like, yeah, we do that. Everyone knows it's time to drink. And they're like, I know when to drink. I'll drink when I want to drink.
Yeah.
And then you realize they're talking about laugh tracks. Don't tell me when to laugh. I'll laugh when I want to laugh.
No way!
Yeah, this show, oh my gosh, dude, it's so good. If I've never shown you that episode, we'll watch that
No, I have not seen that.
It's so good, but like the show's great. Season 13 is coming out on Hulu July 5th, this Friday. And then the new season will be, I believe, in September. But just a couple other tiny little tidbits about it. One of the things that's been kind of making the news lately is, I don't know if they were doing a road trip or what was going on, but Rob McElhaney, the guy who plays Mac, he is in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and he comes to the office building.
I did hear about this.
You heard about this?
I don't know anything about it, but I did hear that there was some weird, like, Office Sunny conspiracy thing happening.
Well, and that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. So, like, I think it's just a fun video. He's here, and he says something along the lines of, like, oh, you're no longer here, bitch. Like, this place is called Patty's. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, that's all it is. And I think it's a funny thing.
And I could honestly see them mocking it.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious for them to do an Office-style episode.
I was expecting them to do the drive-by montage, the opening montage of The Office. What I feel like is interesting about this is you have people who are now turning that into news, saying that there's an Office Sunny, like, crossover happening, and like him and Steve Carell have been talking online, and they're like, oh man, but that they're just playing along. To anyone who realistically thinks It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and The Office could do a crossover. First of all, bringing The Office back is already going to be a feat. And then to crossover with It's Always Sunny, one of my favorite shows. The Office is one of my favorite shows. You cannot say they have the same demographic or style of humor.
That's people leaping to conclusions way before. People just jump so fast on things.
Well, and not only that, but to pitch that as, like, a possibility, I think is absurd.
Yeah.
And, I feel like there's somebody who works for a company who's like, oh, I need to get an article out tonight. Oh, there could be an Office Sunny crossover.
Exactly.
And it's like, no, he's obviously joking. He's just playing around. He was, like, I don't know. That just kills me.
That's the most radical thing I can jump to.
Right. One last thing here about TV news. Well, kind of TV/movie news. One of my other favorite TV shows of all time, and I believe one of yours as well.
Yes.
Community.
I love Community.
# 6 seasons and a movie.
6 seasons and a movie.
So
what are we missing?
Well, Allison Brie. So one of the last kind of things that people saw as obstacles for this movie was Allison Brie becoming the star that she is now. She's not as she's bigger than she was back when Community was airing.
# glow.
Yeah, glow for sure. Glow, yeah. And then, of course, you have Donald Glover, who's doubling a career as Childish Gambino.
Yeah, he's way above where he ever thought he would be.
Well, those were kind of the two that people were worried about. Allison Brie has come out and said that she is 100% in for a Community movie as long as it's on Netflix.
Oh, that would be so good.
I'm sure that's because, of course, She's probably contracted by Netflix
already
through Glow and all that. But I know Joel McHale had his talk show. It's not on anymore, but he has got to have some involvement with them.
Yeah.
He
and wasn't the principal? Wasn't he on Netflix as well in something?
Yeah, he was on something else as well. I can't remember what, but I know they made a joke on the Joel McHale show about how they're all involved. So I think that's cool. If it does happen, most likely it would be on something like Netflix. But yeah, the last standout is Childish Gambino, and I don't think he has a reason to. I mean, he doesn't have a reason to, job-wise or probably money-wise. But I'm
not gonna lie, he seems like a really cool dude.
He does seem like a really cool dude. Seriously, how much work would it really be? It'd be like a reunion to them, I'm sure. I'm sure it'd be fun.
For him to show up, act like a goof for a few days, and it's done.
What I wouldn't want is, say they do the movie, and then it's like, oh, like Troy's not here, but like, oh, he sent us like a Skype video.
Yeah.
And it's, something like that. But I don't know. Possibly one step closer to a Community movie. Still might not happen, but I will always hold hopes out because I would love nothing more than to see that movie.
6 seasons in a movie.
And it would be meta. That they could even...
It would.
There'd be so much good stuff about that.
There'd be like a pillow fight around Avengers Endgame and everything else. I mean, it would be so good.
That's one of my favorite shows. If you've never seen Community, and actually I'm going to go ahead and say what I told you earlier about It's Always Sunny. The first season, they tried to be like a typical sitcom. They had like, here's our leading guy who's really handsome, and here's the most attractive girl that he's going to hit on.
Yeah.
And then it's just, it's not bad, but it's very by the numbers.
Yep.
And then towards the end of the season, they start getting experimental. Towards the end, they have that paintball episode.
It got so weird.
Oh, it got weird. And then from there, it's off the wall. Every episode's a different genre or a different parody or satire.
Best episode, in my opinion, is after the entire Blanket Fort, Pillow Fort saga. They legit shot like a Civil War documentary reenactment of the Blanket Fort Pillow Fight saga.
It was like a PBS documentary.
Yes, it was so meta and so good.
That's exactly the kind, and it's ultimately about a community college. But that's it for our universes. We actually have something special now. We're gonna go home first.
We be booming.
We be booming. Now, we actually got some boom sent in to us from our followers on Twitter.
Some questionnaire booms.
Yeah, little questionnaires, little things. They want to get some of our input, and I'd love to talk about some of this. This is from Django Soul on Twitter. He asks, are video games art?
100% yes.
Yes. 10,000%. Yeah, they are absolutely art.
I guess I'll say 99% yes. Because you can get games like I Am Bread. It's like, those are fun, and I guess 100%. In their own way, they are art.
That is, yes.
I can't argue my own comment. So,
frankly, yeah, I don't get how this is a question.
100%.
No, this isn't. I don't know that this
are they accepted as art?
That's
a completely different question.
I think it is absolutely art. I think it's mind blowing that it even as a question. How is it that movies are automatically deemed art, but like video games, especially if you look at games like anything from Rockstar, Red Dead Redemption 2, where it takes years to make, millions of dollars to make, all these different teams. And I don't think anyone is saying Red Dead 2 isn't art, but I'm using that as an example for video games as a whole.
Well, even as Red Dead, there's been times that I've been playing that, and I just stop riding my horse to stare at the scenery.
Right.
And any game that can make me stop playing the game just to admire it is 100% art.
Exactly. I mean that right there, you're even looking at the most literal interpretation of art where it's visually beautiful.
I'm just going to stop and look at this right now.
Exactly. I love... So a game I've been dying to play for years. I've never gotten around to it, but I've seen enough on it that it's always stuck in my brain, is the Stanley Parable. Does that ring a bell?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
It's a PC game. In this game, it's a narrative-driven game, but it focuses a lot on choice and free will. So, for example, you would start out in a hallway, and it's a first-person perspective. You're in a hallway, and there's 2 doors at the end. You start walking, and a narration will come on, and it'll be like, Stanley walked down the end of the hallway, and he saw a door on the right and a door on the left. Stanley chose the door on the left. You can choose to go through the right door or the left door. Say you go through the right door.
No way.
Stanley seems to not take instructions very well. So it's like things like that, I see that as art.
That right there is art.
Yeah. Though there's that one game, I got it for free like a year or two back from PlayStation, The Unfinished Swan, where it's all a completely white canvas. The entire world's white.
You have to throw ink to paint the world.
Exactly. You start out, you have no idea the sense of...
You're creating art in the game.
You don't see a sense of up, down, left, right, where I'm going, but you start throwing globs of paint, and you're like, oh, that's the ceiling. Oh, here's the steps. Here's a hallway.
Yes.
I think video games are undoubtedly art. Anyone who says otherwise is, frankly, I don't know, probably over the age of 70.
Too old to play video games.
Yeah. One thing I will say, though, one quick thing, because I think that we've essentially made our point, is I wouldn't necessarily call Tetris art, but I would call Tetris Effect art.
Yeah.
Tetris Effect is the newest release where it's kind of got trippier graphics. The music actually plays to how you play the game.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But I don't know. The original Tetris. Okay, so let's focus on
but
is the original
then,
Tetris art?
They make these cool little lights that are Tetris shapes, and you can stack them and they light up. Is that not an art piece?
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So is not the original game an art piece? Because it literally created art.
Even though it's a puzzle game, it could still be art.
Yeah. Pac-Man. I find the original Pac-Man, the blue lines and the little circles running around and the little white dots, visually very appealing.
Well, yeah, you see blankets of it. You see
it's beautiful
tapestries.
It's well made.
I think. I think most people would agree. Video games are definitely art.
Yes.
And especially, I don't want to rehash a lot here, but just games deserve more recognition for the work that goes into them. 100%. I don't understand how a game of the year, a legitimate one. Everybody has a game of the year. Every company and every website has a game of the year. But having the game of the year, on the same par as the Oscars or the Emmys is much deserved.
Most definitely. I remember you talking to me about the voice actors of Red Dead, about what they recorded, like something like 5 million lines of dialogue for that game.
It was a lot, and it was over years too.
And it was over years.
The guy who voiced Arthur in Red Dead, I think he started voicing it like 3 years ago.
Yeah. I
mean, and then you look at, and I'm not diminishing anyone's work, but you look at an actor who probably, let's be honest, works 90 days out of a year.
Yeah.
You know? But we put them on the highest pedestal.
Yep.
I just find that odd.
Oh, 100%.
So, yes, video games are absolutely art.
Yes.
And I think you would all agree with us. If you disagree, I would genuinely love to hear your argument for that. Prepare for a lot of heat from other people, probably. This last one's really interesting, and I think we can get juicy on this one. This one is from Mike in Bunker Hill. Ooh. He's asking, how would you Frankenstein your ideal Batman actor?
My fingers are twiddling.
You look very excited.
I'm so happy about this question.
Really excited here.
This is such a cool question.
I love it. That's a great question. Because there's definitely bits and pieces that I like and don't like about every incarnation.
Yes.
Well.
I don't know if we answered this question differently or not, but I took it as creating my own perfect Batman movie from everything that already exists as Batman. I'm cherry picking.
That's good. That'd be the easiest to visualize anyhow.
Yeah. So, I personally, I don't care what you say about the movie, I loved Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Not as Batman, just Bruce Wayne. Because I loved his smoothness. I could listen to Val Kilmer talk for days. He has such a smooth, calm voice.
He was pretty suave.
And I love the suave coolness that he played to it. Even in his troubledness in the movie, he was very calm. I want him to have the build of Ben Affleck. He's big, he's menacing
looking.
He's a
tank. Yeah.
And I feel like you need that size of a Batman to go up against literal gods. And of course, the voice of Mr. Kevin Conroy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the shoe-in. That's the bonus spot on the...
I want Val Kilmer's voice as Bruce Wayne, Kevin Conroy's voice as Batman.
Okay.
I want that deeper, raspy, not the Christian Bale gasping for breath.
Yeah.
But just that assertive, like, I know who I am.
Right.
Like, almost Val Kilmer's that calm, cool, collected, like he's playing it cool, and Kevin Conroy's voice is, this is me. I know who I am at this point, and I am Batman. I loved Michael Caine's Alfred. Yeah, out of any of them, Michael Caine seemed to be the one that really made Alfred feel like home.
Oh wow, that's a great way to word that. The part where when he's weeping at the end of Dark Knight Rises,
yes,
talking about how he failed him.
I failed you.
That is very emotional.
You did not quit the Batman. He wanted him to stop. Mm-hmm. He's like, you're going to run yourself into the ground, and he ended up doing so, or at least Michael Caine thought he did so.
I love how you worded that. He's the most home. I love that.
I love the animated series Batmobile.
All right, no, I love that.
Yes,
I'd love to see that in
physical reality. I want to see that in a live-action film. I love the fact that it looks like some super old, like 20s Art Deco.
Yeah, it looks like it's from the 20s or 40s, but from the future.
But yet still futuristic. Yes, I love it. And my last little tidbit is I want Burton's Gotham as the set, but in the everlasting snow.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
Gotham City.
Batman Origins. Mm-hmm. The video game.
Yeah. Batman works so well at Christmas.
Batman Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime it's cold and it kind of takes it to more of the dark, stark, black and white, like lack of color. Yes, Gotham. If Gotham was in Alaska, that's what I want. I want Gotham in an everlasting snow. I love this question so much. I spent so much time on this, and that's kind of where I'm at with my perfect Batman.
I love that, dude. I love how you described all that, and especially with your Gotham City. I was slightly similar, slightly different.
Okay.
So I want the acting in the presence of Michael Keaton. Every single Batman actor, that you've had. None of them have had the presence that Michael Keaton does. Michael Keaton isn't even the most physically imposing.
I will give you that.
But he's the most that when you saw him, you're like, that dude's crazy.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I'm terrified. You felt the brooding. You felt the anger. You felt the injustice he felt.
Michael Keaton can do a very good job of acting without saying a word.
Yes.
Always.
He did excellent brooding. One of my favorite shots, it's very impractical for the universe, but one of my favorite shots is Batman Returns when the signal goes up, but he's in his study, so then his own bat signal comes in and shines on him, and he stands up. I love that shot.
That is a great
shot, to this day, will give me goosebumps.
Yeah.
But the presence and the acting of Keaton, okay?
Yep.
So however you would bottle that energy, that intensity. Physically, as Bruce Wayne, I like George Clooney.
Okay.
Now, maybe, a little bit younger than what we saw in Batman and Robin, but I like him physically as Bruce Wayne. George Clooney has that suaveness. He has that natural attractiveness.
True.
You can believe that he would walk out of the most expensive car.
Yeah.
Everybody would swoon. He was not... that's certainly not the best Batman movie, but that is one of the best Bruce Waynes that, in my opinion...
George Clooney has the cockiness without the arrogance.
He's very confident. He's very confident. He exudes a bit of power, and that's kind of what I see in Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Batman... Now, as Batman, physically, this is where it's interesting, okay? Because this is where am I going to take Batman in his career and what kind of tone am I going?
Okay.
Because I also love Ben Affleck because he is a tank. He is muscle.
Yeah.
When I picture Frank Miller's Batman, putting him in real life, I'm seeing Ben Affleck. However, I do like Val Kilmer's build as Batman.
Okay.
No, I don't like him acting as Batman. That shot where he turns around from... the psychiatrist and does that stupid smile. I just but physically I like the lean young Batman. You believed out of all of the Batman in suits, he's probably the one that I most believed that he could go out there, physically run around,
that's true,
beat up people. So again, that one I'm kind of cheating. I am saying Ben Affleck and Val Kilmer, but that's what kind of take am I going with?
No, so that's not cheating. That's cutting from both.
Now, the voice, of course, Kevin Conroy.
Oh, yeah.
Who is going to argue with that?
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, you can't touch that. That's just perfect. My Batmobile is the 1989 Batmobile.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Michael Keaton's Batmobile is just that is the coolest vehicle in the world.
It really is.
If I had a genie, one of my wishes would be I want a street legal, legit Batmobile. Yeah.
It's so close to like a Corvette Stingray. Which wasn't that the body they built it off of?
It was built off like a Ford Taurus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
They took like a normal like Ford Taurus and then they built like, yeah, it's an exterior frame.
Because it looks like a Corvette Stingray with the raised fenders up over the front.
A lot of what you see is all extra.
No way.
Yeah. But I love that car, and I love that it's so perfectly Batman that he had all the unnecessary gadgets.
Yeah.
So he had... I love in the first movie when Vicky Vale's looking at him a little too much, and he pushes a button, and it's a light that's literally just there to blind the other person if they happen to be looking at Batman.
Yeah,
and I just love that.
You know,
I love that
because he thought of everything.
Yeah, and frankly, I love it when he goes on a rampage in it in Batman Returns, where he lights the dude on fire and he launches like those pellets at the guy, the concussion.
I did love it in Returns when it gets the shell around it.
Yes,
it really armors itself.
That was as a kid.
That's awesome.
Or how about when it splits apart to go through the alleyway?
Go through the skinny alleyway.
At the time, that was the toy I wanted more than anything. I did eventually get it, but that Batmobile that split apart, oh my gosh.
Yep.
So that would be my Batman. I really liked. I have to look up his name real quick. Jeremy Irons as my Alfred. Now I liked him because I liked that he was a little surly. He was a little bit tougher.
Oh yeah.
I like that he was probably a whiskey drinker. Like, he's like, you're driving me to drink because, like, you're killing me, like Bruce, you know?
Yeah.
But I also picture him as, like, they do this often in the comics, and they did a couple times in the 90s cartoon series, but if somebody were to break into the cave and start, messing around, or they shouldn't be there, I can picture Jeremy Irons' Alfred actually fighting.
That's
and,
true.
Fighting back.
I feel like he could handle himself.
Yeah. But I really liked him.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I didn't go so far to think into Gotham City, but I will say I liked the Gotham City that you saw in the 90s cartoon because, like what you were saying with Burton's, it was kind of 20s, kind of 40s, but it's also futuristic.
Yeah.
I love that no matter what decade or era it's supposed to take place, there's always Zeppelins and blimps.
Yep.
Like, I love that. I love that it's kind of timeless.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the Gotham City I'd
That's cool.
be looking for. But that's going to be our episode for today, I think.
Sweet. That was a good one.
That was a good one. That was pretty meaty.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good stuff. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to us today. We had a good time.
Many thanks.
Many thanks.
Yes.
And we will be seeing you soon.